effective that way rather than relying just upon the president to take care of all the business. For instance, uh, for housing, we have a committee that works with housing problems,
Right.
to work with groups that are developing housing to assist the community in getting the word around where it's available. And if there's discrimination, we deal with that straight up.
Mm-hmm.
We have a labor and industry committee that deals with labor problems, where we have discrimination uh, in employment in terms of promotion, employment, otherwise. The labor and industry committee goes directly to the source and start dealing and trying to resolve through mediation, if possible,
Mm-hmm.
the correction of those types of complaints. We have a youth committee, and under the youth committee, under the director, we have what we call a AXO.
Mm-hmm.
That's a program that's conducted annually in competition in the various areas of science, in
Mm-hmm.
the performing arts, and the local winners uh, have paid expenses to go to the national convention on an annual basis and compete
Mm-hmm.
with the other branches throughout the country for awards and recognition.
Right.
Uh, we have the economic development, under which we call the Fair Share Committee.
Mm-hmm.
The Fair Share Committee under economic development is responsible for contacting all the local businesses to work with them in terms of getting more blacks in the higher echelon
Right.
of the operation of the business and even in the board
Mm-hmm.
as far as the board of directors and trustees are concerned. Uh, we have also uh, as I said, the education committee.
Right.
That committee is concerned with all aspects of education of our young people,
Mm-hmm.
uh, in terms of getting black. eh, Right now, the emphasis is on getting more black males
Right.
into the classroom so that young people can see and have interaction with more black males
Mm-hmm.
than history records right now that we have. We also work with the school system in
Mm-hmm.
terms of making certain that we get our fair share of staff appointments,
Right.
begin with the administration down to the classroom teachers,
Mm-hmm.
because we recognize that the students can relate in terms of their potential on the basis of what they see other blacks doing. So
Mm-hmm.
if they see more black teachers, more black administrators, then they know that the potential is greater for them to succeed in these various areas.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a nutshell, this is the function of the Greensboro branch NAACP. Now, we are located at 1200 East Market Street.
Mm-hmm.
Our phone number is 273-1222. We have a paid secretary to be on hand to receive calls and to refer them to the proper persons to handle any and all situations that is considered uh, NAACP uh, concerns.
Right. How do you feel about Mr. or Reverend Ben Chavis visiting today?
I feel that it is one of the greatest things that could happen in Greensboro and in North Carolina
Mm-hmm.
today.
Mm-hmm.
He, at this point, I feel, is recognized as one of the youngest and one of the most effective leadership that we have in the country today, because uh, his activities
Mm-hmm.
as a young man and as a courageous young man that goes into every area or any community where there are problems or concerns to be dealt with, he does not hold back. He comes and deals with it straight up. He goes where there are gangs, where there are problems.
Mm-hmm.
He negotiate with them, try to resolve differences, get blacks in and all organizations of different philosophies of blacks to work together for the common cause and not put emphasis on the differences,
Hmm.
but to solve the problem in this country and to deal with the big problem in this country is racism.
Right.
And let that be the focal point of our attention as opposed to the minor, insignificant differences that might be in terms of philosophies when being among
Hmm.
groups or between groups.
But don't you think race advancement would be another issue rather than the actual racism?
Race advancement is very significant
Hmm.
in terms of what our future holds for us and especially our young people.
Right.
We are going to have to look at all areas of where there is lack of advancement
Hmm.
that we should be and are due our fair share
Right.
and deal with it straight up and under no certain certain terms is to accept anything less than what's fair and just in terms of what is due us as the citizens of this great country.
Right. Do you think the 12th district is unconstitutional?
No, I think that it's unfortunate we have some citizens in this state that would take an issue like that
Hmm.
and to cause for difficulty and concern to prevent
Hmm.
and challenge which is due black representation in our Congress, which not has been happened since Reconstruction
Right.
in the state of North Carolina. And I feel that justice will prevail and better thinking people will recognize that blacks should be represented in all areas of our political government,
Hmm.
political lives.
Right.
So therefore, I feel that time will serve us well and that we will in fact have a minority, a district where there will be minorities, or should I say, uh, mostly black districts where we can elect and be guaranteed to elect black representation in the Congress of the United States.
Right. But even if we have black representation, that doesn't mean they're going to go for black people. They may show up and try to impress white people. So do you think that black people should keep in touch with the people they elect?
By all means, we should hold all elected officials, black and whites, accountable.
Right.
Uh, the mere fact that we mention black is because we have been shortchanged in that area.
Hmm.
It does not mean that we let white elected representatives off the hook.
Right.
Uh, but since that we have not had in Congress a black elected from the state of North Carolina uh, since Reconstruction, as I mentioned, then the time is right that we should be represented in Congress now that we have a district that it should remain, whether they realign the district or not, that we should still maintain a black majority voting district to make certain that we have a black elected to Congress because history records we cannot rely upon whites.
Right. So if the 12th district is eliminated, do you think that a black politician will ever go to Congress?
Uh, I don't see them eliminating a
Hmm.
black district.
Right.
It might be realigned,
Right.
and that's what we're counting on. And based on the fact that we will be continuing and negotiating and pressing for the fact that we maintain a black district, I feel that the courts are going to accept some form of a black district of at least two in the
Right.
state of North Carolina.
Mm. Okay. Is there anything you would like to add before we go?
Yes. Uh, Assuming that this uh, interview will be seen uh, prior to our Freedom Fund dinner, which will be held tonight
And tonight is
at the
April
Coliseum,
9th.
April 9th at 7 p.m. at the Greensburg Coliseum, special section West Wing A,
Right.
special event section,
Hmm.
that we are encouraging all citizens uh, to come out and hear our great leader, Benjamin Chavis, speak to us tonight. Enjoy the dinner and uh, the the special program that we have selected for this particular night. For those who will see this program after the Freedom Fund dinner on April the 9th, Saturday, we're suggesting that you support your Greensboro branch NAACP by renewing your membership and making contributions to its program. Whether you have a membership or not, make a contribution to the program because there's a lot of work to be done.
Uh-huh.
And the only way we can do it is that we assume our responsibility to support the Greensboro branch NAACP.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Next, we will have the executive director of the NAACP, Mr. or Reverend Benjamin Chavis. So join us.
Hey, how you doing? Could you add on? Relay. I want to stick
Yeah.
that in.
Yeah, by all means,
Right.
by all means.
Put that back on.
Okay.
You still going? He's still going. Go ahead.
Okay. What do you think Relay can do to the black community to advance it?
Yeah, Relay is one of our most, I consider, successful and an example of what young people can do in terms of coming together and working and producing these types of programs that you see from time to time through over this channel. These are young people who learn to be professional at this early age, who conduct themselves in a very professional way, and I would challenge any other studio
Hmm.
or television station to to be able to do any better in production than Relay. The problem is that we need to get more support for the young people. Since that this is a nonprofit corporation operating on a shoestring budget, we have to rely upon funding agencies, both private and government, and individual donations
Hmm.
from people throughout the community to make certain that Relay continues to operate and give the young people the experience that we witness here today in producing first-rate programs.
Right. Thank you. And to order to get in touch with Relay, you should call 691-9702. Get in touch with Mr. Ted Mangum.
Beautiful.
He took back off. Came and got in the car.
Who?
was with Mandela in South Africa not too long ago. So the NAACP, we're broadening our base.
I need you to do that again. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
We need to do the whole thing again. Brother been turning on the amp system. Go ahead.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Now, am I doing right? Should I look at him or should I look at the camera?
Oh, look at him.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it on?
Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
So you can get him more at an angle. Beam more here. Want to move it over that way. Just pick up the whole thing.
Side town or suburb.
I know where Reese my sister was teaching in high school.
Oh.
That's many years ago.
Welcome back. Tonight we have the Executive Director of the NAACP, Reverend Ben Chavis. How you doing, Mr. Chavis?
Thank you. It's good to be on the program.
During the LA ride, she went into the public housing in Watts, and you said that you wanted to change the image of the NAACP. What is the image that you want to portray as the NAACP, and do you think you are successful at doing so?
Well, we've been very successful over the last 12 months. I've been in office now 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the youngest person to be executive director of the NAACP.
Mm-hmm.
And during my first few days in office, I went to South Central Los Angeles to reassert the commitment of the NAACP to work at the grassroots level. I actually lived in the public housing project. I stayed there.
Right.
And I met with gang leaders and people that wanted to improve, to end gang violence, to end some of the self-destruction that was going on in the community. And so that repositioned the image of the NAACP as being an activist organization, as an accountable organization to the needs, improving the quality of life of our community. And I think we've been very successful in a relatively short period of time.
Mm-hmm. In the past and the present, the NAACP has been portrayed as a quote-unquote uppity African-American organization. Do you see that portrayal as accurate?
No, I don't think that's totally accurate. Certainly, we may have what one would call uppity brothers and sisters,
Right.
middle-class brothers and sisters who are doing well. We're glad to have brothers and sisters who have done well in life in the NAACP. There's nothing wrong with that. But that would be a mischaracterization to say that the organization itself is uppity or exclusive. We're
Right.
the oldest and the largest civil rights organization. We were born in 1909. And NAACP's membership cuts across class lines, cuts across socioeconomic. It really is the most broadest representative organization of the various tendencies and the various constituencies that make up the African American community. African Americans are not monolithic.
Mm-hmm.
And the NAACP, in order to represent the aspirations and the rights of African Americans, we have to bring into the organization the diversity that exists within our communities.
Mm-hmm. Do you yourself think that the 12th district is unconstitutional?
No, I don't think the 12th district is unconstitutional here in North Carolina. It was a
Mhm.
congressional district that was redrawn to give African Americans in North Carolina a greater presence in the Congress of the United States.
Mhm.
So it's interesting, we only have 2 African Americans from North Carolina in the Congress. We ought to have more. But yet, as soon as we get those 2, somebody in Durham, I think, files a suit to try to challenge the constitutionality of the 12th district. So the NAACP, we will fight to preserve that district and to ensure that we even get a greater voice in the Congress, not a lesser voice.
Right. Do you think the NAACP, your administration, is different from your predecessors?
Well, I think my administration is a continuity and an expansion of my predecessors. I have to pay tribute to Dr. Benjamin Hooks, who was executive director of the NAACP during some very trying times, during the Reagan years and now during the Bush years. And my election signaled that what I did, I took the torch from Dr. Hooks after my election and have been trying to expand on the base that he maintained. So I would characterize my administration as one of expanding and what Dr. Hooks was able to do, and to bring in new energy, new resources into the organization. So there has been a continuity. The NAACP is the nation's oldest and largest civil rights organization.
Since 1909?
Since 1909, and it was not necessary for me to go back and totally redo everything, but
Right.
rebuild on the past, rebuild on the tradition. We value the tradition in the NAACP as we look forward to the future.
Recently, Dorothy Height and Dolores Tucker protested against quote-unquote gangster rap. Do you think that gangster rap is bad for black people?
Well, first of all, I think we should endeavor to understand hip-hop culture, hip-hop
Right.
generation,
Mhm.
rap music, and what is known as gangster rap.
Mhm.
Uh, I believe personally, I've called a consultation recently with some of the nation's leading rappers.
Mhm.
And what the rappers have told me is that, yes, there may be some problems with some of the lyrics. You need to change some of the lyrics. But the reason why rappers are rapping about some of the negative things is because of the social condition.
Mhm.
And so if you want to change the lyrics, you got to change the social condition
Right.
that young African Americans are facing.
Mhm.
So my approach is a little bit different, although I agree that some of the language and some of the lyrics should be changed so that we don't glamorize violence and so we don't make the denigration of women as something acceptable. That's not acceptable. But on the other hand, we must not put down young people when they're trying to creatively and culturally express themselves. I think rappers ought to be embraced by the movement, not put out of the movement.
Right. Recently, you went to South Africa, and did you find that tribalism is going to impede on the advancing of anti-apartheid democracy in South Africa?
Well, I think the problem in South Africa is not tribalism in and of itself. It is how sometimes tribalism is manipulated
Right.
by the white races.
Right.
We have a serious problem with black-on-black violence in South Africa, but that is almost funded by
Right.
right-wing white South Africans that want to stay in power. So tribalism can be used to divide and conquer. And that's the situation in South Africa. When I was over there recently, I met with Mandela and met with Walter Sisulu, vice president of the ANC, and we're making some progress. But the truth of the matter is, we must not allow division in our communities
Right.
to hold us back. We have some similar problems here in the United States. I wouldn't call it tribalism, but sometimes it's
Right.
division. We need more African unity in Africa. We need more African American unity in the United States.
Okay. What do you see in the future for the NAACP?
Oh, well, I'm very excited. We've made a lot of progress over the last year, and the fact I'm here having this interview with you, I'm going to encourage you. We need young people like you to come and not only be a part of the NAACP, but help provide us with new leadership. I see in the future the NAACP continuing to expand and grow and be able to impact American society, impact the decisions that are made, and to help improve the overall quality of life of our communities.
What do you think black people can do to restore hope in their youth?
Well, first of all, I think one of the things we need to start doing, first, is stop putting down young people.
Right.
The truth of the matter is the majority of African American youth are not on drugs, are not doing self-destructive things, but nobody lifts them up when they do something good.
Right.
And so that's one of the things that we're now doing in the NAACP. We're trying to not just dwell on the negative, but lift up the positive that our young people are doing. I was encouraged when I was 12 years old by my own parents and by people in the community to be involved in the civil rights movement, to be involved in the NAACP. And I want this present generation to encourage young people. Don't just point fingers and criticize young people when something may go wrong. Our young people need a helping hand, and I'm going to make sure that the NAACP be that helping hand.
Okay. What do you think about the relay program?
I'm very impressed with the relay program. I think it is a very effective program. It provides leadership development. Young people get technical skills, but they also get leadership skills, and I like that. And NAACP fully endorses the relay program, and hopefully we can use this as a model that can be replicated around the nation.
Is there anything you would like to add before we leave?
Just to say that I really want to salute the work that you're doing and your colleagues and young people. The skills that you have gained, and I want to say that being interviewed by you is like being interviewed by CBS or ABC, NBC. You do a very good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Tonight we leave with, I think we have to do that. I think we have to do the ending with the close up.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
My hand's a little bit cold.
No problem.
You have enjoyed what you have seen, and I'd like to thank Reverend Ben Chavis and Mr. B.J. Battle, and I hope that you've learned something about the NAACP tonight. Good night. You can do many takes you want to.
Oh, good. Because I might need to.
Ready in 5.
Hello, my name is Dina Hayes, and I'm your host for Full of the Faith, a program of community dialogue brought to you by the Greensboro branch of the NAACP. We're very honored to have with us today a very special guest, the Reverend Ben Chavis, Executive Director of the NAACP. He's going to be interviewed today by a student, Evan Sloan. Oh, sorry, Ted. I was here to say, well, I guess we should do student. Oh, you're going to make me do all that all over again? Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. You going to cue me?
5, 3.
Hello, my name is Dina Hayes. I'm your host for Full of the Faith, a program of community dialogue brought to you by the Human Relations Commission of the Greensboro branch of the NAACP. We're very honored today to have with us a special guest, Reverend Ben Chavis, Executive Director of the NAACP. Reverend Chavis is going to be interviewed by a relay student, Evan Sloan. Okay.
Thank you.
Camera, man. Huh? I ain't gonna say this, don't hurt. I ain't gonna spoil it. We gotta get Rico over there on camera. You got this topic, huh? What topic you gonna deal with? That one. We got something that we did. Like we're gonna show some PSAs that students at Reedsville High put together. They famous for their baseball, their football, and basketball. They're undefeated in basketball. Yeah. And they're from Reedsville too. All kinds of and football, they only lost one game. They lost the last championship game. Reedsville. I thought they lost the last game. They didn't win the state championship for football. CC. How you been doing? Yeah, what's the name of it? They gonna take that down, but y'all not gonna use it. They're not gonna use it.
Push the button until it goes green. Push the button until it goes, the green light comes
Didn't you use
on.
that before?
Yeah, I used it. It was a long time ago. Remember, Ted? You push the button. You looking?
I saw it, period. After we finished.
I tried to get in touch with Mr. Van. I left a message on his machine. Hopefully he'll call me back. I told him to call me here, but when you call that 45 number, you'll get right. Y'all want something to drink? Come on and get something to drink. I should give him a tip. something like that? Oh, yeah. And then people start calling in. I could have told you that. So we
give it
got
to Nick.
Shut up, kid.
It's a real problem. You open up the wrong mic. You can't have all the mics open at the same time either, so they have a tendency to cancel each other and the gain goes down. You have to keep raising the levels higher and higher. So generally what we do on a show like this is we color code the mics. We put a strip of paper around the mics, different colors, and we put the same color up here. Real simple system. So you see the color of the mic. If it's green, you know it's a green mic. If it's blue, you know it's the blue mic. Okay. So it's pretty simple in theory, but in most of the shows I've done with that many mics, you usually end up having a little problem somewhere. The gain's not high enough. If you cut to somebody, they're off mic, and you have to get a mic to them. If you're doing a professional show and you're doing it live, well, you know, you're hosed. If you're doing it on tape, live on tape, you're still hosed, unless you stop down, do an edit, and then pick up from that point, which is always a possibility you can do that. But generally, that really disrupts the flow of this kind of a show. So this is really going to be the most crucial thing. Right now, we're set up to run 10 mics. Technically, we can. The reason I don't know. I think there's a problem with this board. When you get 10 mics on this board, we got no gain. I have to put a thing called a preamp in it, and we don't know what. I have to take a look at it. Engineers will take care of it. This is a used board I got from Channel 48 too. Really, I like this. I've used these boards for about 15 years, and we'll just have to work out the problems with it. So like I say, that's the most crucial thing. The second position, of course, is the most important, is the person who directs. Several different ways you can do this. A director can be hands-off, whereby they're calling the shots, stand by cam 2, take 2, 3, slide in to the right, stand by, take 3. Generally, all your camera movement on a show like this is done off switcher. Which means if you're setting up a shot, you set up a shot, then you take it. You don't zoom and pan on the air. And generally, you don't do that in any TV show. A lot of people who don't have a lot of experience have a tendency to want the camera to zoom in or pull over and pick something up. We like to do set up and take, set up and take. Camera 2 sets up, take that camera. Camera 3 sets up, take that camera. Camera 1 sets up, takes that camera. That way, we just have static shots. Because, you know, people, you know, you're watching TV, you don't want a lot of this going on, okay?
That's pretty much the way they've been trained, except for in
Now,
emergencies. You know?
I call this a 3-button show, okay? 1, 2, 3. Camera 1, 2, 3. It's that simple, okay? This is a very complicated little switcher. So it's Grass Valley 200-1 is a model. It's still state of the art right now. It's a digital switcher. It's a computer, literally a computer. That's what it is. For a show like this, you're going to use maybe 1/50th of the power of the switcher. Basically, what you're going to do is this is the program bus. This is the heart of the switcher. Whatever is punched up here is what's going to your tape machine, or wherever just the output of the switcher is routed. Okay, that's your program bus. They call it program background. I don't know why, different name. So basically, on a show like this, when you got 3 cameras, this is all you're going to be doing. In this case, the cameras they're turned on, but no lights and stuff. So I call it a 3-button show. Okay. Now, if you're going to use supers, which is a chiron, we'll talk about that later, where you superimpose names. It's as simple as turning on a downstream key down here. In which case, nothing's up in the switcher right now. Just type something on there. Anything. See?
Oh, okay.
So if you're doing supers, so basically now you got a 4-button show, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Auto trans to that. Okay. So even though the switcher's intimidating looking, it's relatively easy to use from that standpoint. And where it gets more complicated is when you push the big yellow button here, the ME. When you push the ME, what you've done is instead of having control down here as your primary, you throw your control up here to your mix bus. The reason that is, you can do other effects. You put up to 4 keys in up here. You can transition to different backgrounds. You do just a lot of different things. You can't fade down here. When you put an ME, you put your control up here. Now you got the full use of all this up through here. Wipes, mats, masks, just a lot of stuff that you would normally not use in a live TV show. This is strictly for post-production, making commercials, industrial videos, whatever you have to have. So we probably, most of the time, you probably would run on the ME up here, in which case you're still in a 3-button show. This has the same effect as this, identical, in which case you're switching the 3 cameras up here. So you still got a 3-button show, plus you can use your downstream key to bring in supers. You add one more element to it, and let's say you have a bumper to go to commercials. It's graphic, just like your relay bumper with your little countdown. Well, what you do is your bumper's up here on VTR4, The only difference here is you can use the fader bars. Nobody ever does anymore. You go to a mix and you go ahead and auto trans, and what it'll do is it'll auto trans. I'm sorry, I'm on a key bus. I'll be all right down here on VTR4. Okay. They all do the same thing. The only difference is you're going to transition between these two sources. Okay. Now you hit auto trans and bang, goes to 4. That's your bumper. Come back out, you're back to your cameras.
Oh,
okay. So now basically we got what do we got? A 5-button show. Okay, and that's probably as far as you're going to take it. Switching to 3 cameras here, transitioning to your bumper, transitioning back from your bumper to your cameras, and last but not least, auto trans using what we call the downstream gear to bring in your supers. 5-button show. Pretty simple.
Auto trans after you've.
Yeah, well, so you can use your faders.
Yeah. Well, that does.
If you're a
the
purist.
same effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just, since it's a digital switcher, you don't have to use the mechanics.
Okay.
Some guys like this, you know. I'm a kind of a purist. I still like to use the little handle.
Yeah.
But it's electronic. You can even set the rate of transition. That's set for 10 frames. There's 30
Like no
frames of
slow.
video a second. You go over here and set the program transition to 30 frames, which is 1 second. Now you got a 1 second fade.
Sort of like
Very
the
precise.
MSJ12, but a lot more sophisticated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when it comes right down to it, I mean, all this doesn't really, it doesn't mean a hill of beans. I mean, it's a 5-button show maybe. 3 cameras, a transition to a bumper, and of course your supers if you're going to use supers, okay?
Take it off, you mask that out. You get it out,
Well, I
you
mean,
rack
you go
that
down
in.
here, I mean, these are
Okay.
complete duplicates, okay? All they are is it gives you the ability to do different transitions.
Okay.
When you go here, you get the full power of the switcher, which is a mix effects bank. That's why it says ME, mix effects. But this is the program bus. This is really the output. Because obviously, when you push this up, you're putting this down here. This is the output of the switcher right here. Now you can preset and look at things down here too. Over here, like when you got this set for. It's not working. What's going on? Yeah, I'll figure that out later. Somebody probably reprogrammed it. But you can look at things on preset up here. This is the preset and this is the program out. The nice thing about the preset is you have these boxes so you can check your centering.
Oh.
Yeah, see, a lot of people think that you have to keep everything within this area right here, okay? Otherwise, it'll go off the screen at home. Very handy to have. You can use it this way, or you can use it just this way to find a center or something. Like if you put a cam card out there, you want to know it's exactly in the center of the screen. Nice little feature. So a lot of times, some people in our directing will use this to preset their shots and take a look, make sure they're set up right, especially if you're shooting a camera card or something like that. Now, you can have a technical director, 2 people can direct it. A technical director basically sits here and runs a switcher, while the director tells the shots. The director says, stand by, take camera 2, take camera 2. The technical director takes camera 2. That might be the way to go in this show. The reason is, the person who's directing can concentrate on the cameras, concentrate on what's going to happen next, be watching for certain things, and then the other person over here is nothing but a technical director. All they do is execute the commands of the director, so that would be the way to set that up. Normally you'd have a tape operator in this position, but we probably won't be using any tapes initially. And basically the tape operator is going to be running the tape machines by this computer. These are all computer interlocked, and this is also an editor, okay? You can set it up and do edits. But generally I can punch to a machine and call it this machine here and jog it, move it around, cue it up, and then when the director calls for a tape, the tape operator rolls the tape. In the case of a tape, you do the same thing, you just transition down here, okay? Next position over here is a character generator. That again is not a complicated one, but it can get kind of confusing. Okay, well this is why you're here. This is an ADO. That's probably when it comes down to it, that changed the history of TV. An ADO basically. Let's see if I can get something into it real quick. Okay, that's what an ADO does.
Oh. Damn, like that.
It does a lot more than that, trust me. I mean, there's menus upon menus upon sub-menus. It does lots. Okay, but it's a digital effects unit.
Is that the joystick was the one I was moving around?
Yeah.
This one right here.
Yeah. Depends what you select is what it does. And of course, it's programmable. Okay, enter, 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 and then I can run it. Cute. Later on, it's something you might get into for transitions. You know. zoom the camera up, you know. That's how they put the little things over people's shoulder during the news.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
real simple.
the little,
Yeah, they basically take it, they preset it,
the little,
put it up over your shoulder there.
yeah, steel store.
And then you feed it, I can feed anything into that.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I got, I don't have a lot of sources online, but whatever.
Oh, the
okay.
cartoon. Tabs.
That's air, that's master control right there, so.
Oh.
Right. But anyways, like I said, we probably won't use this. So getting back to the character generator is nothing but an electronic typewriter. As a matter of fact, by the time we do the show, I may have this replaced. This is the state of the art at one time. Chiron basically had the market covered at one time, but they got new computer-based systems, which are much more sophisticated. And I may just leave it in here until we get the first show done. It's a new computer-based system, really complex. It's sort of like 10 times your toaster plus. Okay, it does graphics, background, and all that kind of stuff. It'll probably take me 2 months to learn how to use it. I've seen a demo of it. But this one's a very simple unit. You type up your lower third. You tell us you can center the entire row. You can shift the row with these different keys right here. Insert, delete characters. Just a matter of playing around. I can center it, and then I can go ahead and insert rows. And get it down here. And once I get it down here, I can put it on page 100 of a floppy disk and record it. So for instance, if you're using supers and you have 20 kids out there and you want to have all their names up there in their schools, you type up 20 pages. And then you have a list. And so-and-so's on page 100, 101, 102, 100, up to 120. So when the director says, takes a shot, there's a student, you identify who that student is. This person, all he does is just call up like 100. And basically all you do is just hit your read key, which is down here. This drive's not ready because this is not in, and it would put up the super. Right. When the director calls for it, they put the super in, then they take it out, you can set up another super. So that's another position right
The
here.
director's the one that puts the super in this case, right?
Technical director, but the director calls for the super. Technical director never does anything unless the director tells him. I've had him freelance on me, I slap it.
The different configuration, that cable, the graphics person is actually the one that puts the super in. The director tells them and they put it in. But in this case, the technical director puts it
Guy
in.
on the board. Right. This person, all they're doing is calling it up. Okay. Obviously, the technical director can't be down here fooling around trying to pull up pages and stuff, so that's kind of an operator.
Now, how's the fonts? How do you change the fonts?
Different fonts. These are your different size fonts. You can load 4 fonts in here. Here's one. Okay. There's a big one. There's another size. Another size. We probably got 50. They're on floppy disks back over here, and you can load any type you want, any style, any type you want. But you only load 4 at a time. You can mix and match different sizes. We generally keep Helvetica medium in here in 4-point sizes, which is about the standard now for TV use, unless we load something else up. And that's relatively easy. It's just a matter of going to the keyboard, calling up a number, and telling it to insert it into that particular font. Now the show itself, as I envision it, is going to be something similar to this. People, 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 all the way down through here. Basically what you got is pretty simple. You got 3 cameras. You can see this right here is one camera, across another camera, cover to the center. Standard triangle setup. Okay. And if we get fancy, maybe we have a high camera, which is another cover shot. You know, we have enough capabilities. Basically, this is, excuse my French, I call this the oh shit camera. You know why? Oh shit, I'm in trouble. Take camera 3, you got a cover shot, freeze up your cameras on the wings so you can reposition your shots. Okay, so that's always your out. That's the camera you hang on, as I said. Okay. So anytime you're transitioning these cameras, you go to your wide shot. That gives this person a chance to set up here, this person set up over here. Okay.
The configuration have the city council was doing live. And
Very simple, very simple. I mean, there's nothing to it. You can put 5 cameras out there, it probably wouldn't be any more effective than the 3 in a triangulation setup like this, okay? Somewhere along the line, you're going to get profiles, you're going to get sides of the faces. There's no way you're going to get them straight on. I mean, it's just physically impossible. But this is something you just learn to play with. It's very simple. The telethon I did last weekend was basically this configuration. It's a triangulation. In this case, I also had an interview set down here, which meant that this camera swung around for a cover of my interview. This camera would swing around to get this person. This camera swung around to get this person. So I was using a triangulation on 2 different home bases. Principle is the same. I transitioned my cameras all the way over to this corner from the kids club set. Never even had to move them, as we positioned them just in a certain way so that using cover shots, we could break the other cameras around to pick up people in a different set. It's a classic way of doing it. I mean, it's very, very simple. That's why I like to use this here. You get a straight line, yeah, there's no way. You might as well put the cameras on tracks and run them like a train up and down in front of the wall. You know, you can't do anything. You got to triangulate. So that is basically how you would do this show, and what the people would be doing here besides your people in the studio. Now you have 3 cameras and probably a floor director. If you need teleprompter, you can have teleprompter. I don't see any need for teleprompter unless Bessie wants to do some sort of segues. Right, exactly. From the standpoint of taping it, real simple. You know, this is record, this is play. In this case, we'll have a strip tape, okay? It's going to have black on it with time code and control track, in which case you go to insert mode, insert audio 1, 2, and video. You're starting to show after your 30 seconds of color bars. You enter it right there, and then you roll ahead 30 seconds, out, put your bars up, edit it in, it's ready for your next edit. You know, right there, put your slate on if you have a slate. Roll in the black, and if you want to do just like, let's say just open-ended, you just inset, auto-edit, it goes back and does an insert. Don't even need the editor, that's it.
So what are you running in there? Is it beta or?
Right now we're on M2.
M2? Okay.
Yeah, M2. Panasonic's version of beta.
Yeah.
It looks like VHS actually, it's almost identical to it, but from a technical standpoint, it's a whole other planet compared to VHS.
I know, I've seen that.
And it's compatible with Beta SP, and it's one step above high 8 SVHS.
So you got the whole configuration set up on the M2?
Yeah.
You don't have...
I have AB roll capabilities. I have outboard machines with dynamic tracking, which means I can go slow-mo and variable speed. I can rotate backwards even, and with no jitter, no jump. And that's controlled by the computer over here to the main record machine here. And we also have a 3/4 inch record playback here that we can use also, and we have a 1 inch reel-to-reel over here, and we have a 1 inch source tape. Generally, these are used as source machines. We got a 1 inch 3/4 source. We use those machines. A lot of times we'll just dub it over to M2 if we're going to edit it. Now this machine we just recently added. It's not even online right now, but it will be.
Now, while we were recording to M2, can we record at the same time to 3/4?
Absolutely. And at the same time, you can be recording on 1 inch at the same time. It's just a matter of rolling the machines.
I was thinking that just in case we couldn't get the editing here on M2 or editing, then we could, our studio is configured on 3/4.
Absolutely no problem. That could be 3/4 SP or 3/4 regular.
Regular.
Okay. Well, we can
I
put
wish
at 3/4 regular.
SP.
Our commercial playback's all 3/4 SP. I wanted M2, but they cut my budget back, so we got 18 machine playback system computerized in there, all in SP, and it's doing a pretty good job. You know, I hate 3/4, always did. When I first started using it back in '72, when it first came out, I thought it was the most horrible format in the world. I still do, but it was cheap. You know.
I wish I could SP, but
These machines used to be 42,000. They're down to about 15 now. I mean, the prices have really been coming down the way it could. Yeah. Beta SP is about 42,000 machine. All of it's been coming down now. It's down into the teens now. It's gotten real cheap.
because a lot of it they project everything's going digital anyway.
Well, eventually, it's a lot of digital right now, but it's cost prohibitive at this point. Eventually, we'll move to it. I just built this room 2 years ago, and technically, it was outdated when I built it. But that's how much money I had to work with at the time.
I'm glad to see them two last, because
We put over 180,000 in this one room here, and that was pretty conservative for television. But even a switch here, the first one of these I bought was in Louisville, Kentucky in '88. And I bought a 200-2. It had 2 MEs. Okay, it was bigger. It had the Streamline Effects controller, which is not option on the switcher. But I was doing news. I was going to do a 10 o'clock news, so I needed the power, the additional power. But it was around 90,000. This model here was around 60, and we got this for 39. So the prices are going down. Finally going down. You know, 39 is good for the switcher. It needs to be cleaned. Okay. The rest of it, of course, is, you know, scopes. That's pretty simple. Vector scope, of course, the vector scope's pretty obvious. Red, blue, green, yellow. That tells you, that's your color bars. It tells you if your tape's in phase, if your tint, your color's set up right. This, of course, is your luminance. We're at 100%. Obviously, color bars are the test pattern we use to set everything up with. Down here is your contrast. We call it the pedestal. That's your contrast. And generally, your contrast stays at 7.5 IRE, 7.5 units above flat black. And each of these represents the different colors and stuff. It is fairly simple. Let me see if I can. I don't think I can get master control up in here. I did have it up on direct. No, I don't have it. Let me see if I can do a shift input. Okay, I did have master control in here. I don't have it online. I had it for the telethon last week. They shifted it off. But anyways, that's important too. But that's something the director, the technical director, will probably be watching on. You don't want video levels going above 100%. Major problem. You don't want them down here. So technical director's constantly watching these scopes here to see what they can see. And like I say, I don't have any video up, so I can't. Let's see, I might have something on one of these work tapes.
I need to get some of this green over here.
Okay, you see it on the scope right there? Oops. Stop. Let me find something else. Okay, I'll show you how this really basically works. Now look at that. That's not cool, okay? See where the video level's at?
Uh-huh.
You want the video level there, not down there, see? Now your contrast, that's called your setup on this machine, is right here. See your contrast? It's just like on a TV. We call it pedestal.
Oh, yeah.
You want your contrast down here, so the bottom line is about 7.5, and the top line's at 100.
7.5.
Yeah, 7.5 IRE. That's a measure of units of video.
Right.
The baseline's here. The lights are burned out of the scope. You can't see the grid real well. Chroma level. You can see your chroma right there, see? Generally, your chroma wants to be right about there. Now, in this case, the chroma's slightly off. See how I can change its color of its face? Now, this is really bad footage, too. I don't know. So, really bad footage. This is real video here. This machine's really booked, too. Oh, here's something. You can look at the graphics. Now, look at that. See how hot that is?
Uh-huh.
All right, bring it back down. There's 100% there. And your blacks are about right. That's showing the white. See where the white is? That's on either side. You can actually see the picture there. If you look really close,
You sure
Yeah, I
can.
see it.
you can see it. See it?
That's
FOX.
the box.
Isn't that wild?
Uh-huh.
But that's crucial. I mean, a lot of people nowadays. I'm an engineer by training. Okay. First class license and all that. I'm real picky about technical, and it's really getting sloppy nowadays. Nowadays we get tapes in with color bars. Set the machine up to color bars. Doesn't even match what's on the tape anymore. I mean, it's just getting real sloppy. You don't even have to have a first-class radio telephone license anymore, due to deregulation. So the technical standards are really getting sloppy. So I'm a stickler for that. So that's just a little bit about the technical aspects of it. That's the heart of all this machinery, and everything's got to match on here. You're going to end up with video. It's purple, yellow, green. One scene light, one scene dark, and you don't want that. So that's about it. Well, like I say, all these have time-based correctors. Generally, we set them and leave them. But most of the time, these are always open. We're making slight adjustments and stuff on them. Actually, that's what makes this small tape possible, is the time-based corrector. Basically, without that, this is a VHS machine with a very high-tech, servo system. But this is what really makes it all possible. And I'll tell you, time-based correctors, when they first came out in the mid-'70s, were this wide and this big.
Good.
Now look at them. This is even an old-fashioned one for 3/4 here. You have to have that too. That's a pretty big one by today's standards. Now they got them on a chip. I mean, it's getting changes in technology. What can I say?
You can get put them in the toaster, put them in the machine.
Mm-hmm. Just to put a card in. Yeah, just a single card is what it takes. As for the rest of the stuff, intercom, that's pretty familiar with intercom. This is the director's intercom. Okay, everybody out there, wake up. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, there's intercom stations here they're on the cameras, and everybody, they chit-chat. Generally, the only one that has a mic open is a director. Cameras never open their mics unless they really have to talk. So there's less confusion that way. Now, you can also have a producer. As an example, last weekend when I was doing the telethon, I had Jay Paul as the production manager directing the show as well as TDing it. He directed and TD'd it. and I was producing. In the case of a producer, I had segments 20 minutes long, and I had elements that ran anywhere between 30 seconds to 3 minutes. My job was to keep an eye on net time, so we get back to network on time off the satellite, and keep the segments running. So I was running stopwatches in each segment, doing cumulative times, this kind of stuff. Don't think it'd be necessary to have a producer here. Really, there's no need for it. It's like I say, basically what we have here is, as I said, a 5-button show with talking heads. It's a talking head show. Later on, you may get into something else where you insert video over top of it. If something's relevant to the topic, you go out and shoot B-roll footage, you put that over top of the discussion. There's all kinds of variables. But initially, we'll just do a talking head show. Questions? I sometimes go too fast, too, so you have to excuse me. It's so Dutch to me. It's, all the years I've been doing it, doing it in my sleep. How do I get that over there? This is digital effects right here. Just punch it up. It's up online.
That was it.
Yeah, and if you want, let's go ahead and put this over color background. And let's go to tier 1. And okay, hold on. Oh, let me out. There we go. Hold on.
You gonna put the screen on top of the?
Yeah. Well,
You can put
let's
that
get a
little
little
thing.
fancy. Let's make it a little good. That's kind of pretty.
Yeah, that's pretty.
We'll do a background
That's
wash.
pretty right there. Right.
Now we want to put DVE over top of that. What is going on here? Auto select, linear P.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. It's not seeing right for some reason.
Two ones.
Hold on. See, let's move that target so I can see it. What in the world's going on? I'm trying Q2. Okay. Yeah, there's a little linear key. So that's, it's superimposed over top of the source. Of course, I can trans out of it too if I want to. Bye, goodbye, come back in. What it basically does is it cuts a hole. It cuts a hole electronically using a key signal, and it fills with the video. So it's literally cutting a hole in that background. Auto trans. That turns the key on, turns it off. So what I got here set up is key 2 is set up to my source. Mix means I'm not going to wipe, I'm just going to fade in and out. Duration is 10 frames, and I've asked for a key bus key, which is up here. My key's coming from my key bus. It's a linear key, which means it's cutting a hole. It's not superimposing, it's cutting a hole and filling it. Luminance key, you're literally putting video over video. Okay, nowadays you don't do that. You cut a hole and fill it with the video. And then I'm using auto trans to bring it in and out. And of course, I run the effect over here before we reverse.
And how did you get the backwash?
Very simple. I went to color background. There's color background 1, color background 2. I can have 2 color backgrounds. And in color background 1, I have the ability to do a background wash over here. When I hit background wash, basically what it's doing is it's washing one background over the other background.
Right.
And then I control the color of that background.
That little switch.
Yeah, right here. The hue, how much of the color I can control over here. And over here, I can control the luminance, how bright it is.
Oh, right.
And then there's your wash from back.
Right.
That's just one of the effects, on the switcher. As they build these things, they keep adding all kinds of things. There's all kinds of weird things about it that some people don't even know they're on this switcher, actually. Get that back. Here's an example. See, I'm transitioning between 2 different washes right now. Let's go back to this and cut this key back on here. And target here. You can do different things to the key itself. In this case, I'm going to do a shadow. Okay, I can punch up a shadow background. I can only do that in key 1, so I'll have to transfer to key 1, turn key 2 off, turn key 1 on. For some reason, key 1 is not cutting a hole. That's not right. Okay, something, and I don't know if something is really not right here. See, it's not cutting a hole. It's doing a luminance key. It's not cutting a hole. Okay, I'll tell you, that's wrong. Something's wrong with the switcher. That's a malfunction. This whole thing is a computer. It's programmed. You've got a big probe. You go into the other room where the main computer is that runs this, and you can program every one of these buttons. It's a nightmare to program. We have an auto program where we can put the probe into the computer and automatically sets it up. This is wrong. Right now, it will not cut a hole. See that? It's not cutting a hole. It's just kind of laying that over top of the other. That's not right. So that's a mistake. But what I was trying to show you is this doesn't have, only key one has. When I bought it, I had to cut back. Okay. There's advanced features, and advanced features for the key, like special drop shadows, is only on this one key. It's not on here. It's not downstream. But what I was going to show you is what's kind of cute. Is watch your border. See that? See your shadow? You can actually move that shadow. Yeah, I wish we could get a real good key cut. And you can even adjust the density of the shadow. See that? You get a second. See that neat?
Yeah, how dark.
Very nice effect. Now, if I was cutting a real good hole with that, you could see it a little bit better. But that's the things about the switcher you probably won't get into, but this is an advanced feature. Now, there's no way in the world you know that you have to hold this button down and move this joystick to move that shadow, see? So that's why I tell you how powerful and complex the switcher is. I could spend several days just showing you different things, because it doesn't say that it does that. So what they've done is they've literally have half the keys on here have 2 or 3 different purposes. But it's strictly for production use, and you want advanced features like that. I don't think anywhere in our show we need that kind of a drop shadow, that kind of an ADO. But I'm just giving you an idea of the power of this particular switcher.
So with that watch, you can put it in a different pattern. Yeah, that's not gonna.
Well, of course, you know, things you haven't seen yet before was wipes. Simple wipe there. Simple wipe there. And let's go into something. Let's see what height.
Oh, it takes out like that.
Yeah. And you got random. Lines. And of course, I can slow that down. Set ME transition to 16 frames.
That's 2 minutes.
That's 2 seconds. There's 30 frames of video in 1 second. I mean 1 minute. Yeah, that's right. No, 1 second. That's right. I'll be okay. Actually, it's 29.87 frames in 1 second. Video literally is still pictures, just like film. Okay. You lay a signal down, it's 1 picture. Next signal on the video takes another picture, and there's 30 per second. But actually, it's 29.87. It's kind of weird. That's why if you ever work with time code editing, you have to use drop frame. You ever heard of drop frame editing? Well, the computer says is looking at 30 frames and 30 pictures, but it's actually 29.87. So after a while, you have to actually drop frames as you're editing to stay on time. It's called drop frame editing. I won't even get into that. But anyway, so you can see the different effects. Oh no, everything's programmable. Yeah, it's just right now I'm just set up as strictly wiping.
They have the white balance the cameras out there.
Yeah, yeah. That engineering will usually work on all that kind of setup. You know, there will be engineers present here. And frankly, I have new cameras and they're still in the box, so I don't know anything about how to set those up yet. The only thing missing is our camera control units. That's the only reason we can't get them up and running on back
That's right.
order.
By the time of course, most of this training would get the directors online on OJT kind of thing, because the cameras will switch over.
Well, it's still a fun button show, though. It really is. I mean, that's all it is. Your setup on this particular board would be probably a mix. And you'd be mixing to a tape source for transitions for bumpers. And then your 3 cameras. And I'd probably use my downstream keyer. The same thing as these keyers, but it's downstream, which means this is the last thing to go, okay? If I were to put this key on here and then put this key on down here, which I could do, this one would go over top of this one. That's why I call it downstream key. And last but not least, there's the old proverbial fade to black.
Black auto train.
Black auto trains. You can cut, or you can fade to black.
Oh, that's a Green Ranger.
Oh, it's Power Rangers design, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh boy, they got to see this right.
Oh no, man.
That must have been a promo. I forgot when Power Rangers come on.
They come on in the morning.
I should know that. I'm the program director, and I don't remember. I'll be all right.
About 8:30.
Now, where we sit up in the studio on a show like this, it's hard to say. I may use high key lighting. This is high key lighting. We use instruments like this and direct light specifically on the people, and then fill it out. These are scoops. This is called flat lighting. It's just like, take a spotlight, just whoosh, it's there. Not as aesthetically pleasing, but with this many people, we may have to do that, because you can't have a lot of areas that are dark and a lot of areas that are light. Then somebody's gonna be going nuts adjusting camera levels constantly to keep it right, so we'll probably go with just flat lighting in this case. So that's it in a nutshell. That's about how you do the show. That's the basics of the equipment. I'm gonna have to run just a minute. I have to be somewhere by 45. Time schedule. I'll tell you what I'll try to do in this is, I'm thinking that probably, I think it'll take about 2 weeks to do what they're gonna do. What they're gonna have to do is they have to move the current track, they have to move, all the electrical wiring over here, then they're gonna have to build a wall down through here, tear the carpet out, epoxy the floor. That's probably gonna take a while. Epoxy takes a long time to get out. It does. It'll take quite a bit of time. And then before they do all that, everything's gotta come out here. All that wire will have to be removed temporarily. So I'd say about 2 weeks. And after that, we'll probably use the set of bait. As for set, we'll probably just go ahead and use the curtains. Initially, Nancy's idea, of course, was to
Stay
cut
up
the
the
flats
flats.
and stuff. Right. Let me see if everyone's ready to do the tape.
Are they about to do a pilot?
This whole show is going to be a pilot.
All right.
I'm not sure. They're just going to do a promo, I think. Is what they
Yes.
want to do.
Yeah. Got on the floor now. There's one under there, studio configuration. And that gold camera that he had mounted there, one had it mounted right on the corner to that wide shop in the seal. And that seal was somewhere near high in the channel 8, so it didn't have to send my back. This is there, what they call it?
A lot easier to move than
Prompt.
H2.
Telephone.
Hey, the camera's a lot easier to move than trying to H2. So in the picture, that's all. They're not
Yeah.
white balance on it.
It's not white balance, and he can pull it up. You see that, your tower light is actually on.
Yeah, that's the camera that.
Oh, put the headset on. I knew it was something funny. It's such a bad, they got such a bad,
Tim, why the control panel so low?
what?
I mean, X is up some, right? Come on.
Which one, right there?
Yeah.
Shoot one like this. Man, you can be able to tell them ladies you make them a star now. They believe you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, send us some thermal, you know what they're gonna say.
Cause I know what I'm doing.
One.
Hurting my ears. He said it's easy. It's easy work.
Zero. Nil. Nil. Y'all think y'all might learn television production? Technical side? Y'all just want the host and be in front of the camera. Some of this stuff our students already sort of been familiar with. Some of it they had like adjusting those color levels, you don't do that. We get some of those people he talks about that don't do it. Sooner than you. You have a bathroom like that?
Mm-hmm.
It's back around by the conference room.
Okay.
I want you in here embarrassing me, like. What they on the camera doing?
Okay, I just got done talking. I'm
Promo.
not sure what they're up to. And I asked them if they needed any help. They said, no. They kept plenty of people here to help. I guess you do, really.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, you have to, she had to get the lights on. You want one of my kids to do it?
Can't do that. We don't have lights.
Certainly can't do video without lights.
That's right.
You want throwing it away?
Okay.
And I was, when we were gonna use these, which is an easy setup, but without the lights, you can't do it.
Ted just messed up my shot.
Okay, alright.
She's gonna deal with black on black crime, teen pregnancy. You know, it's a whole lot of things, and these are issues of today, of the 90s, or something like that. Oh, I'm sorry. And then go into the fact that on Just Talking, we deal with real issues. We have real people, real young people your age dealing with these very real conditions.
Did anybody write that down?
Nicole
that
got on
sounds
top
good.
of her head. She got.
You got it, Nicole?
Yes,
Okay. Yes, ma'am. You go, girl. I know I'm getting on up there.
No, I didn't mean it like that, just not.
I respect, right? Okay. Oh, it's dirt though. That's okay.
Other thing is she ate all the potato chips.
No. Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. That's what we bought for. Okay, this young man here, as a hostess, what advice would you give me?
See, for a promo, you would want to invite people to come in. With Ted's idea was bad because.
Okay, so Chad's ideal is bad. Okay, we got that out of the way. Go ahead.
Because if you say something like that, those are all different. You don't have people that in a dress, or we'll be coming to your school soon, so if you're dressed to sign up. And see, with Ted's idea, if you come to school, there's something that they talk to their friends about rather than going on television, because if you do issues like that, I've had a lot of experience with people who would like say a lot outside the camera. When they come to the camera, get nervous and they just stiff up and they have no idea whatsoever. So it depends what kind of issues you're trying to aim for, and plus for the first few episodes you want ratings.
Right.
So you don't want to do depressing issues. Although Oprah gets by with it, her first episodes were happy, chipper, things like that. And then when she had the ratings, she could do stuff like racism, which is a ratings goer after you become popular. Rather than if you do it right there, they're gonna be like, oh, another racist show in turn. So you want to do happy shows about issues like I don't know, pertaining
Happy
to
markets.
happy stuff.
Yeah, all the teens, right? Yeah, because you know what, he has a point there, because that's what we were talking about doing the prom as the
thing.
first show.
Yeah.
It's opening, you know,
Yeah.
how
now we were
but see
gonna
now
do
we run into
The
by time
Yeah, 'cause the prom
timeline.
is coming up.
Right,
in
and then
May.
by the time we shoot and air for the end of May, you can forget that. So we need to come up with something else, and I agree with that, just to get everybody's attention, because if we come up
Maybe
with the
like
same
Mother's Day or something coming up like that. I think that what we have is good, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why. We were gonna do violence and guns in schools, and the reason, I know people were talking about that, everybody's talking about that, but the reason why we decided to do that is because the mayor, I don't know if you, and I don't know where you're from, right, but Winston-Salem mayor and everybody's in an uproar about that, and they're having all kinds of, it's a real hot topic right now, and during the ratings period, which we're probably, I don't know when we're gonna air, but ratings period will be over like the first week in June. And if we're on by that time, it'll be a good time to do it.
Right, and that's another point.
Because nobody's doing it from a teenage standpoint.
Right.
Yeah, and that's
It's
the
all
focal point
adults.
we're
Okay.
wanting
It's all
to get
adults in
into.
those meetings.
Okay,
So
but
it will be something
another,
different.
if you're going to do something on crime, you don't want to do it all here, because it's not going to attract people.
Right.
So you want to go on location, let's say some kind of jail or
Or talk
juvenile
to people that's
detention
been
center.
in crimes or whatnot.
Yeah,
or
people
been
who
at
have
home.
committed it and withdrawn them in, because people are like, hey man, this is a jail, let's see what this is about. Rather than come on the stage and,
Right.
and having people talk about it who's never even committed a
Yeah, 'cause
crime.
they- Well, these are gonna be people who have had some type of vested interest, but what we could do is do some footage
That's what I
at a
like.
jail or something with some statistics, maybe, Kyronda on top of it with the, you know, the scene could be a jail or some, you know, some type of something like that, and we can edit it in. But because our show is probably, I don't know if it's 30 minutes or an hour, that has never really
It's
been
an hour.
settled. It is an hour.
That's an hour.
So what we could do that during the bumpers, during the, where we get ready to the commercial. We could do something like that. Like Oprah did, remember when we were, you know, how she had the guy on the street, and he had Chiron up there with different facts and information and stuff like that. We could do something like that easily. But the kids
Well,
that
see,
are going to be here
when I
should
first
be kids
started
that have some
thinking
kind of
about the show,
interest in
I never thought of
science.
it as being inside the studio all the time.
Yeah.
I never wanted that because everybody has that type of thing. My thing is, let's go outside, let's go to the schools, let's talk to people outside, but then everybody said that was a problem.
It
as
is a
far as
problem
shooting.
because we don't have the equipment to do
Yeah,
that, and
yeah,
you are
so
increasing
that's
costs.
the
But
problem.
what you can do, like I said, is just go shoot some shots and we'll just edit it in.
Yeah.
Like Oprah did when she went outside. with
Yeah,
the little
that's what
girl.
I'm saying.
But
That's-
you won't.
but
But
you
you'll
saying
still
that's-
have studio time. I thought you meant do the whole show. on
No,
location.
just go out there and talk to
Pull
some
some
people.
stuff out of it.
Yeah,
Well,
and then,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
put
we
it
were
back
gonna do that
in. I want
anyway.
to do that on every show because I feel like that is what's going to keep people interested. It's going to be a little bit different, and then talk to a few people in the studio if you know at the time. Okay, that's good. Go ahead, honey. You really got something going here. I like this. young
Okay,
man.
so you can have some shots like right before the commercials, and then the set. Now, the set I'm in, it has a curtain behind it. Nobody watches that show, okay? Except for people at school who just say, hey, that's my schoolmate. So you'll want an exciting background. It's like, cause
You don't know that.
huh?
You don't know that. I get feedback all week. You don't even be telling me that.
Okay, Dad. All right. So,
You don't talk to old folks.
okay.
So you don't have to
But-
know people though.
Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
So it's just like, let's go back to Oprah. She had when she switched stations, she wanted a larger audience because they pay a lot for her. So that she switched her setting and stuff all around. So that's another rating thing. You don't
Well,
want
that
you don't
she
want
doesn't
anything
know
like
that.
this.
That has nothing to do with her
You
show.
don't want
Okay,
it.
let us tell you what we have in mind. We had
'Cause she's in Chicago.
like
she wouldn't know she's on set
a
2 years.
Yeah.
stoop, like just little stoops, like steps that we're gonna put a set of steps here and a set of steps here, and just have people sort of sitting like that. And then in the middle, put the guests on a step, and then have the steps coming in like this with the teenagers sitting on it, and the guests right there. And then I will have a few steps in the middle between the set, and then between that will be like a brick wall, so it'll look like they're sitting outside.
Right.
With graffiti.
With
That's
graffiti
that's
on
the
it.
exciting part because the flats have graffiti on them, and then they have like street light posts that are gonna be put up there. It's gonna be pretty.
Uh-huh,
It's
and
gonna
then
be nice, and then it's gonna have a black curtain behind the flats, but the flats are just like 1, 2, 3,
In
and they
between
have
each set of
graffiti,
steps.
bright colors
Right.
and
It's
stuff.
gonna be like a park or like in front of a building.
It's like in front of a
In a
building.
Yeah.
Like in the alley,
A building,
trying to
they
get
got
that
graffiti
alleyway.
Yeah.
With street
Because
signs
see, now
and
what we
light
really,
posts.
what we
and-
really was thinking about doing,
Street
and
lights.
we still probably gonna do that as the intro, is have someone driving up in a car, and then we'll get to the street says just talking, and the person will turn to go down that road and come up in the back of the alley. Does that sound familiar to you? And come to the back of the alley, and then we'll get out and sort of walk through the door. The door would open this way, but you never see the person.
Right.
And it just as the person entered, my thing was, hello, welcome to Just Talking. We're just sitting here talking about violence. Today's our topic is violence.
It's like walking
And
with
then,
your person.
right, and the person would just walk in, and then all of a sudden that's the way I wanted to open it.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And then one day we will come up with maybe a contest. Who's the person that opens the door to Just Talking? Who, no one never knows. All you see is the hand, the legs, but you never know who the person is. So it's the mystery. But I also want to have it to the point where we can capture that audience too. Now, what can we do to make people watch?
But see, there
We gotta have something to
Yeah.
see that they watch each week and each show, and promote it
You
to
can-
schools is one thing, but some type of
You can have a clip or say where at this particular scene what happened or what was the last scene or what was the last phrase in last week's show. Cause like at the station, like we'll play a song and then we'll say, well, what's the power song? Then the person have to call back and find out what's the power song is. So you can just say what was the let's say at the middle of the show what was this person talking about in the middle of the show, and call back, they win something or
Okay.
something like that.
okay, that's it. That's what we're looking for, some kind of little click to get people calling. If you know that you can win a prize,
Yep.
But
And
it's not
you
a
go-
live show.
huh?
Not a live show. It's
No.
live. That guy, Frank, Armstrong's got it live.
No,
it's
he
not-
was saying if that's, I mean.
We're gonna tape live.
Yeah.
Yeah,
tape
it's
it.
not gonna be live, but what they can do,
Write in.
write in,
Something.
something to that nature. We have to find a way that they can do it, but you have to watch the show. The key is, if you watch the show, you have the opportunity to win da-da-da-da-da.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? And then pass it around the school and say, golly, I gotta watch, because if I watch, I can win this bike, or I can win this
Yeah, don't make the
three-wheeler.
chances
You know?
one out of 1,000
Yeah,
either.
yeah, right. So,
But see, there's another thing that each show has its own little thing. Like what are those little talk? What's that guy called?
Montana.
No, the white guy.
Geraldo,
No, Jerry.
Markovich.
Springer. He's like in
Who?
Baltimore.
Oh,
I
okay,
don't know
we
what it
can't
is.
get that here.
Yeah, but he has his own little segment at the end. I mean, all these little talk shows have something different from each other. So, I mean, first of all, when I went to Baltimore, they had
40 different talk shows.
no, but this is like some radio show where they play videos. But everybody watches it because they put like little teen things that somebody loves who, and it goes by, and people actually watch that. And that's a rating ignore, because nobody, although they're like, people meet that way because they put, you have a secret admirer and this is it, and this is and you always put at the end of the show so people will watch it to see if they're, even if they don't like the show, they see if they're on there and see if they have some kind of girlfriend or boyfriend waiting for them at school the next day, whenever this is going to air. So
that's interesting.
I mean, that's just
that's
one
interesting.
thing.
What do you think?
Or another thing you can have is, like where, like you said, at the end of a talk show, have like, if you feel like you want to talk on this issue, please write us and blah blah blah.
And
then-
participate
yeah,
in the workshops
yeah,
after the.
yeah,
Yeah,
you could
that's
be
what
invited
I'm
to the
saying.
show.
What you could do is have somebody send in, like if they want to say a quote on the topic, and do those at the end of the show.
Right, and then you can
And have
say-
people, because they're going to want to look and see who's saying what about this topic. Or my quote's going to be at the end of the show, you know.
Yeah,
Do
they gonna look
something
and
like
they gonna look
that.
until they see it.
That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
Don't you like have to, some legal standards? Don't you have to say if they have to put, you know, if you're saying on the show at the end of the show, you have to tell you if they want their name on the air. Don't you have to
Yeah,
do
they
that?
have to sign a release form for us to use.
So it's like
But
you-
when they send it
But when
in,
they send it in, they're giving us permission to do so.
okay, and then we can say to them, if you send it in, write a statement at the bottom that I release all rights and da-da-da-da-da-da.
Or I do not want my name.
Yeah, I do not want my name on there and sign it. If you don't have that, then we will not.
Most
hear
of,
it.
but when we do contests here, when people send their name in, we put their name on the air, you know, saying they won. I mean, we
Yeah.
have to, so whenever you submit something into a TV or radio station and they use your name, you submit it, you know. That's like giving us legal permission to do that. Just like if you call the radio station, you know, you call in,
You want your
and then
name
you
on
try
there,
to
they gonna
sue,
say it.
say that's right, you try to sue,
Say
say,
you
I
called.
didn't want to be on the radio, then you shouldn't have called.
Yeah.
All right, so
So
those
if
are good
they don't
ideas
take
at the end. That's a good, okay? So now, and I hope this video, we can use this video as go back and look at what we said. Any other suggestions? Anybody else?
You could dedicate a song, like you saying with the admire thing, they could dedicate a song or something.
Yeah, to a couple at the end of the show, with the credits going by. You know, they'll play a song for a little bit.
Yes, this is team.
Yeah. I wonder if
Or
Fox,
with
does
a
Fox have
video.
some kind of video thing? I don't
No.
watch Fox that much.
Video, what video thing?
Where they show
Just show
video.
any kind of video.
'Cause I
Oh,
know-
no, we're straight programming.
Just have like the end of the video, kind of like towards the end with the credits going over and whatnot.
Or you could.
Cause
With
teens like
copyright.
music.
But
You gotta
teens,
get copyright.
yeah, but teens
Yeah, that's
usually.
true, that's what I was thinking about. We
But
don't
teens
have
are
it
usually
in-house.
drawn to watching shows because some kind of, you know, how teens think they're in love, but they really aren't. So you can have the a contest like every week, and a guy or a girl will write, whoever writes the best love letter. Then you put it like at the end of the show.
He's stuck on his love
Love
stuff.
Hey, he's talking about what teenagers like to
Yeah,
hear.
because I mean, because that's the only they like love, and sometimes they like violence, but not most times. You know.
It's
So-
like a bouquet or a cheap bouquet, something.
Yeah, because I think we should do something that's not always targeted toward something evil or
Yeah.
something
Serious.
bad happen. Let's look at some positive things too.
Or it's like a teen achievement or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
We need to do a teen achievement type thing. You're right. So something to pump back some
Yeah, get
motivation
some-
and some
yeah,
energy
some-
back
some
and not
little
draw
bit.
all out negative energy.
Mhm.
So those are good ideas. And what do y'all think about the set? You think that
Yeah.
does that look
From what
okay?
you can imagine.
Because you know how we all.
Okay.
feel
So
and
so you're
stuff.
gonna work with us on this, right? As we get it narrowed down, y'all gonna
Right.
y'all
I'm not
gonna
gonna be here
team.
during the
So
summer, so
okay. You're not gonna be here during the summer. Where you going?
Indiana.
Indiana. Oh, y'all go wait for the summer.
Right. I'm practicing for it.
Oh, so you gonna stay with your dad? I know. Well, I miss you guys. Well, then, you know what? We just can call you up on the phone, tell you what's happening, and send you a copy. And when are you leaving?
June 3rd.
June 3rd, okay. Good Lord, you have to go?
Said
When
she
you gonna
had
get
to
out
go.
of school?
I mean, this just seems like be mad right here. Okay. All right, so anything else? Any suggestions? I know y'all thinking over here. Any suggestions? None whatsoever? Okay. You don't have any suggestions with your expertise?
No.
Everything sounds good? Okay, all right.
I do think that we all need to keep in mind the focal point of the whole show, like it was in the beginning, that it's everything is from the teen's perspective. So you know the purpose of the show is to give the teens their voice and their opportunities to be heard.
But you know what? And I was thinking while he was talking, to keep ratings, because I was thinking, I don't want a show that have a rating, nobody's watching it now, you know? To keep them interested, if we go out there each month and shoot at the mall, various places,
Yeah,
and
you know
people
y'all
know.
wanna be on
they-
TV.
Right, people gonna look, because they say, well, dog, I was there when they shoot, I'm gonna see if I'm on television, you know?
You
They
do,
are
you
gonna
know,
look
but
and they
this
gonna
fall
tell,
from
right,
the camera,
right,
They wanna be seen.
right. When
Well,
they,
Well, I don't know if we'd want to shoot anybody in the background doing this.
why not? They're teenagers. You can't ask for them to be a professional person. You're talking about a teenager.
Yeah,
And
we
they're
gonna
gonna,
do
they're gonna,
something
they're gonna do
to
something. So you gotta let them be
That's
teenagers.
why
You know,
I
you've
mean,
always been
for
an
coming
older
in.
teenager, you know, but
So it should be something
To
that.
prepare for the next week, you know, going to instead of going to the jail, you go to the mall or whatever that Friday or Saturday or even Sunday sometime, and you ask teens if they look like teens,
Do like a survey.
what they
Yeah.
think about that issue, and you.
That's a good idea, and then edit those in.
Right.
Do a survey.
That's a
do one
very
that-
good
and
idea.
the
You can't be a member, they can't sign the application.
no, but they can come and
about
talk on the
rules.
show. But that's a good way to promote the show, is to sit right in the middle of the mall. And then say, well, we'll be at your various schools, you know, at certain times, and pass the word around, whatever, but that's a good way to promote it, right in the middle of the mall.
Yeah, well, that's what the flyers and stuff are for.
Yeah, we can sit there and pass out flyers, find out if we can go to the mall and set up a booth,
Yeah.
like next Saturday, that would be a perfect place to do that.
Mhm.
Cause that's where everybody hangs out.
Yeah, no matter what it is, on the weekends, everybody's at the mall.
So you would need to hit Four Seasons and Haynes Mall, right? That's
Right.
those are two malls
You
we're
gotta
looking
go
at.
to High Point.
I didn't know
High
how.
Point
Yeah,
have a
have a
mall.
mall.
High Point
That
does
building.
have a mall. They have
building.
they have a mall?
Uh-uh.
You sure?
Oh, no,
That
I
building.
ain't
Yeah,
never-
Really?
You keep going to Greensboro to go to the mall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they go to Winston, they go to the mall.
Okay. All right.
Them two, I think, are one of the popular malls.
Okay. I think we'll work one Saturday in the morning and one Saturday afternoon or something like that.
Well, I don't know. What about morning? Do they go in the morning?
Mm-mm.
No.
Yeah.
They go like
Yeah.
Sunday at Four Seasons are like 12, don't they?
Huh?
Sunday at Four Seasons. That's what it started by.
It
12.
started,
Most of them are
On
about
Sunday?
No.
Oh,
I
on
mean,
Saturday.
Saturday's about 3. That's most
Yeah,
of them
they
are.
ever started
Saturday
going out
3.
to like 8 something.
Okay. All right.
No,
So
so we
so
need
we
to
can
call
set
the
up about
malls
1 and go from 1 to about 6 or something like that. Or go 2 to 8.
Okay, let's
Two
see.
to eight.
2 to 8.
And,
2 to 8. Because you got to give a little time to set up and all
Right.
that, and then
Yeah.
we'll hang out till about 8:30.
Yeah, cause I mean, all you gotta do is grab one person's attention, cause you know how it spread. Say, well, dang, she got this on there. Oh, I gotta get this. So I mean, it'll spread.
we'll see, because when we set up the cameras in the mall, people like,
Surprised.
and we go pick out.
Well, the purpose of the mall is to get, I know it's twofold, but the main purpose is to get input to put into this production.
Right.
And but still the main thrust of the production is gonna be in the studio with the group here talking,
But
discussing
you only have like 5.
the subject. then if you shoot for 4 to 6 hours in the mall, you get that much more stuff to edit.
No,
You
we
only
wasn't
gonna have an hour.
No, we
Just
just
to
pass
set up
out,
a page
pass out flyers and
Oh.
talk about the show. And then get people that's interested or know someone to talk, no, we don't do that. We'll go to, we'll go to the schools and maybe, talk to a few people, something like that, and use that, because see, I was thinking, whatever the intro is, I like to have intro from each school. You know, like something part of the,
So what do you usually do when y'all got a 1 hour production? You usually have,
Because if you kind of go to like,
in a typical
where
1
say
hour,
Cadence,
you have
some like Eastern Gift or something.
3
Well, you
breaks.
don't know too many people go there. I mean, you hit like
15
like
minutes to go to
Cadence,
commercial,
Dudley,
PSA,
boom, there's
etc.,
attention
come
right
back.
there. I know somebody go to Dudley, I know somebody go to Grimsby, that's gonna grab your attention. So, I mean, don't always go get some of the county schools, cause I mean, everybody don't know nobody in the county. I ain't saying everybody knows somebody in the city, but see, just grab some of the main schools like Andrews and Dudley and all that like that. No kind of face attention to the outskirts. I mean, I ain't saying everybody knows somebody in the county, everybody knows somebody in the city, but just get the main popular schools.
and the word will spread from there
Yeah, I
on.
mean, that's all you gotta do. Like, hey, we hit real on some call right here.
I'm seeing that if you had a.
And another thing, you know, thinking about
15
trying to get the
minutes, 10
ratings,
minutes, and then
going,
PSA and
we could
commercial,
have,
and
like,
come
each
back
show
in.
that you watch,
Then
you have to
what
collect
you may want to do is,
tidbits of
if
information
you
for each
use
show.
15 minutes.
And
then
after
you
about
have
4
3
shows,
comebacks.
then you have an opportunity
So 3
to, if you know, like you
comebacks.
do on the radio sometimes, you have, you know, you got 4
feedback.
artists.
You gotta listen to the whole.
Yeah, you gotta listen to 4, you gotta go through 4 shows.
Yeah, you gotta
Oh,
go through the
yeah.
whole day to listen for that
Right,
song.
right, and so when you do that, and you say, each month I gotta watch this show, and then I gotta put it together, and I put together, we're gonna have a contest at the end, and you get to win something, but we gotta have it something nice enough.
Yeah.
What would teenagers like to win?
Check low.
Close Genesis certificates, close Genesis games, Smash games, video games, like that. The thing, cause like we had a when we gave away the Geo, when we gave away the card, we had a calendar, and you write the power song each day. You write it in that little calendar piece, and they had what's the power song. Out of each day, they had the little calendar, and you wrote what song it is, and then for like 2 weeks, and then you sit it in, and you write another 2 weeks or whatever. And then that qualifies you to win the card. If you got all the power songs right that week, that qualifies you for the card.
But then you,
So I mean,
then you have to go through a rally.
yeah.
Okay, so, how did, I mean,
Yeah.
you think we get somebody to promote something like that, a car or something to the show?
Yeah.
I
One
don't want to be a track on there.
I'm saying we giving away a tracker.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so how did y'all do that? Someone just donated a car?
Well, we
No,
gonna
not at
talk
the beginning of the song.
we gave away.
I mean,
Not
I
at the
didn't
beginning of the
get
show.
North.
You go over it.
that's
Or you come back through the,
what's that?
yeah, you come back through the
Thing,
statement.
it wasn't
for people at
AutoZone.
mall.
Whatever, I can't think of the name of it now.
And, you know,
It
you
was
come
a
back
car
on
plate.
it may have logo.
Yeah, it was Advanced Auto, and we went to Advanced Auto and we set the car out, and they tried for it and stuff. So they gave the place publicity and gave them business and gave us business on the side too. So I mean, we got mad ratings.
That's the format.
Where did you get
You
a
would
car?
have
Yeah, they
either
went to
three
some
people
kind of
dealership?
one
yeah,
center
dealership, and then we
state
just
that's
went through Advanced
Yeah,
Auto.
one
So most of all the
person
problems we
did.
got was Advanced
So
Auto.
So what you did was
you know, one person.
all the commercials you got from the ratings you paid for the car, and with
That's why I was trying
not all the money, but you know the money to pay off the car, and you pay off the car.
I guess so. I mean, I didn't find.
What I might do then is get something,
15 minutes by the subject.
you get, you know, a collection of things that can be given away. So you won't be, it won't be one person winning all. You see what I'm saying?
We'll get
And
one
like,
center out of that.
the videos, the,
Yeah, tickets to
tickets
the show.
tickets to the show.
I get them. I can try to work on
Okay,
them.
tickets to the show and clothes, you know,
Get
went up.
clothes from the radio station, get it out as much as you can, get it out in the open. So I mean, and not one.
You think we can do the radio station, do,
Next place.
little promo thing? Okay.
All the good paid promos or whatever. What? See, I can it's already I can get the.
Okay, because we're working off of no money, but you know.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the way-
you always start out
Yeah,
like that.
no
you
money.
know.
Okay, all right, then you help us out with that, then. That's wonderful. Anything else? Okay, as a hostess,
Oh, you asked me?
my style,
Because I didn't know if you had.
See, when you're working with you have to relate.
That's why I was asking him if we
Try to
could
be
lay
like
down
a mother
3
figure,
quarters at the same
because
time. He said we could do both.
If you watch
And
Teen
the way I
Summit,
was thinking is that
you
we,
see,
because y'all
you don't want to
broadcast
do teen
everybody
slang,
3 quarters from what
it
he
doesn't
tell
sound
me.
right.
You take 3 quarters.
Like
So,
teen summer
I mean,
just
I'm
got
too
like
old for teen
crazy
slang.
dope.
So I was thinking that we do both.
It doesn't sound right.
And
So
what we
you
would
just
do
want to be a
is,
host,
because you
like
certainly
you're
have
hosting
some,
adults, but
capabilities.
Leaning
On your
more
end,
towards
yeah.
teenagers. I mean, any slang
So we
that
would-
a teenager says. They was like, dang, she trying to say
I
slang.
know
and whatnot.
teenagers get offended real easy. I know that.
But then again, someone.
You know, it makes you, it
So
makes
what
you feel like
what you
it
need
makes
to
it
do
like they're
is
mocking,
after you finish
you know, a language,
somebody
I mean, a
would have to put
dialect.
laws
or
in
things
place.
So
like that.
basically,
We
she
need
needs
to
to talk
take
to,
this thing out.
host her show the way she's talking to you all now.
Yeah, it's just like that.
That's right, yeah.
Cause
But see, the reason I'm doing this is because I work well with teenagers, and they always say, you know, I wish you was my mama.
I know.
You my mama, you know, and I've always felt like everybody had an opinion. And that's the way I raised Angie. Angie's my daughter. And yeah, and so she's,
That's
you
why
know,
I asked for Frank.
she, you know, always had an opinion. I feel like teenagers, sometimes parents will say, you don't know, or
you
you're
ain't
too
been there
young,
yet.
or do because I said so, you know, and I'm like, what does that mean? Because see, as a teenager, and as a child myself, I was, Mother, you're not hearing what I'm saying. Let me half of it, cut it off, and because I told you that, that's it, bam, and move on. And then I'm sitting back with all these things calculating in my head, and I would get a whipping because I would not stop talking. I am gonna tell you what I have to say.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it out.
Yeah, my
You
opinion
listen
is
to
important.
So I mean, basically, you can do. I mean,
basically what y'all talking
we can tell our
about,
parents
okay,
that y'all don't understand. We're like, well, yes, we do, 'cause we've been there. Well, you don't understand because the difference isn't changed since the '60s and to the '90s. That's totally
Right.
different.
Hey,
So I mean,
and
you gotta
and people,
understand.
and then they say, well, you know, you ain't doing nothing. I have gone through.
Yeah,
And I'm
that's
like,
different.
yeah, but the timing is different.
Yeah.
The whole era is different. What I went through in my days, in the '60s and '70s, you know,
That's what I'm still trying to
she's
do.
a whole different. She's breathing different air. You got different people to deal with, different attitudes. So she's thinking that.
And then they like, no, it's not like that.
Yeah.
No, you have to be where we come from.
Right,
You gotta
right.
see what in the eyes that we see.
Right.
So I mean,
I agree with
Those
you.
adults are not there with you in
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
They don't know what you
They don't know
have
what
to deal with.
They don't know we gotta worry about. We gonna walk the street the next day.
Right.
I mean, but no, y'all don't have to go through that. Y'all can.
And the next thing is, you got it made. You don't have to work, you don't have to do
But see,
this.
it's not
But then
like
all
that.
this pressure that you're trying to do, because see, you gotta relate, you want people, you're trying to be accepted.
That's a
You
job
trying to
right
accept it.
there.
And to
And
be
the show you don't
accepted,
really want to
you have
exclude
to.
parents. You don't want to put down parents that much because
Maybe it was
parents will
be
well,
bumped up.
No, we're not putting them down. What we're trying to do is say that you have to look at it from a teen's perspective and then try to visualize yourself living in their
You
day.
gotta put the shoe on.
And you have to stay up to date.
That's probably what you
You
want
know,
to
you
put
can't
in.
live in the past. A lot of parents do live in the past. I know because I talk to them all the time.
Mom and dad.
They live in the past and they say, you know, I walk 20 miles to school. Well, then, you know, that's because there was no transportation. You know, doesn't have anything to do with what today's what's happening today. So, you know, it's a lot of
You gotta do the stuff with the parents, so
we
the
want to do
parents
a
can be
parent
involved
show.
too.
We talked about a parent show. We talked about probably doing what? A show where
We did that on Channel 8. We talked
Oh,
with
yeah.
the parents,
That was in the
they can go
box.
back and forth.
they do teen pregnancies, like they just talk to
Then there's another thing in teen itself is figure out if you watch commercials, you know how John Hughes over. They say topics you. This time I saw was talking about how they invade Chicago apartments. You know, I don't really care about that. You know,
because we're not in Chicago. It don't have nothing to do with us. We don't care.
That's what
You
this
care, but you
goes
don't care.
with.
Yeah, so I mean, say, well, it's not
How's it gonna help me? How's it
Yeah,
gonna
how
help
it's gonna affect me? How, yeah, I don't care.
And that's what we're trying to do is
Yeah,
just
so
keep
say,
the
but
focus
it'll come back
so that we can
3/4
make sure that we give you something that's gonna affect you in your life.
Like that Nixon thing, I was like, okay, he's dead. I'm sorry he didn't affect me. My sympathy goes out to his family, and then that's like a period. Okay, time to turn. I understand he dead and all the stuff he did for the country. That's it.
That's it.
I was like, okay, you can go back to what I was looking at.
Hey, I'm with you, girlfriend. I was like, okay, and I just saw it a few minutes ago.
I know.
Here it is
I mean,
again.
that's all. And the man was like, okay, we interrupt because I think he's dead. 2 minutes later, he's dead. He was dead the first time we said it.
I say,
I mean,
the
I
situation's
was
gonna
looking
change.
at Farrakhan, and they gonna interrupt.
I know. That's what I was looking at. And then as soon as he
So he
goes,
got to the good part
I
about
went like
Malcolm.
this. I fell asleep as soon as
But see,
he
you know, there's a strategy behind that anyway.
Yeah, they didn't want to hear
Okay,
him
as
talk.
soon as he got to the point about Malcolm, you know, hey,
Yeah.
Okay, cut you off. I mean,
Yeah, Nixon died an hour before.
yeah, and they go just go in. I mean, you could have done that
there's
hours
always
ago.
strategy behind it.
See,
Always strategy.
TV and stuff. It's a bunch of BS.
All right.
Can y'all answer a question for me? we're talking an issue on how young do we go? How young would y'all take it? If this is y'all thing, how young would you take it?
I say
13 and over. You don't want it 14 and over. 13,
you can say 13 because in girl wise you better say 13 because
13. Well, girls mature.
Yeah,
girls
no,
mature
I'm saying,
way faster.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you better hit the young ones, especially teen pregnancy. I hit the young ones
Yeah, because the ones
because they
you can
start
ask
developing and all this. See, I'm telling you, you better hit them young girls.
But you boys, no, you don't want anybody under about 14.
I mean, I don't know. I still want to say the elementary because they going like fifth grade. The fifth grade is the lowest because they going in the middle school. And by fifth grade, by elementary, you know a lot of stuff. I mean, it ain't like you don't know how to cuss by the fifth grade. You don't know how to do this by the fifth grade. You know that
But you
automatically.
already, but say I did from 3rd grade.
So 13 will put you what age? What grade?
13 is gonna hit you between 12 and 13.
What's depending on what your issue is.
Now,
If
grade,
it's like,
something 8th grade?
it's depending on what your issue is. If it's like real,
Eighth
like,
graders.
guns in schools, and you get a 12-year-old bringing a pistol to school,
Something wrong.
yeah, you
But
probably
it happened though.
Yeah, think about it. A 7-year-old killed a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
But see, and that boy brought a gun to Bethel, so it happened. So you can't just say always going up to upper age because them little kids gotta get from somewhere.
Right. And
They
then,
take that
and then
out.
like if you go to the mall and say, can you identify this gun? You could probably do like 12, 13, 14, 15.
They gonna identify.
Yeah, like that Joe Campbell study, whatever that thing was. You know, they want to affect, they want to affect you since 12-year-old.
Some little kids know a gun better than I do.
I know.
I say I'm 16.
There you go. I don't know nothing about all that.
But now, the thing of it is, someone is teaching them.
Yeah,
Is it
so
an
they get it
older
from
teen?
somewhere.
Is it a parent? You know,
It's a news, because every time I watch it, like
it's
22
around.
it's a news.
It's
You think the
around.
news and the television, the media.
It's the
if you
media
think of it,
full
the news
plate.
teaches people how to do crimes.
Well,
because-
you know what? And television shows.
Tell you how to break in a house.
Right.
Use a
That's right.
credit card to get
Yeah, I never
into
knew
a house.
how
Why
to
you gonna
credit
show
card until I
that?
watched
Right.
television.
It's like carjacking. Carjacking
Yeah.
started in Washington, D.C. The week they said there's been carjackings. This is how you do it.
Yeah. And how you
It's
protect
been
yourself.
out there,
Technically,
it's
how you
in
get
L.A.
in
3 days later.
Yeah. They tell you step by step how to contact somebody. This man was like, well, if somebody come up, you don't do this. You done got to the
Just
car.
give up. I say, just give up. And it tells you, just give up your car. So I'm
Yeah.
sitting at home going,
Okay, can I shoot them? And they
I don't have to
take
do
my
anything.
car.
All I gotta do is say get out the car and get in the car and take it off. And that's when. And then they got on the national news, and everybody wanted to do it. You know, everybody getting their car stolen.
Society brings whatever happened in society, they're gonna bring it out in the open.
Right.
And they're gonna show it. Whatever
And there's
happened.
somebody out there just waiting. Somebody that's just on the edge.
Yeah,
You know,
like-
you got
like when
somebody, one of these freaks that just right on the edge, waiting on something else to do, and then that's like a motivator to them. Because I was looking at a show, I don't know, 60 Minutes. They had this young lady in there. The young lady was an ex carjacker or whatever.
Mhm.
And she said what they would do, they would watch people that rent cars.
Yeah.
They knew they were what? Visitors in the area. And if they were reading the map, or they see a lot of luggage in the bag, you know, these type of
See
things,
the
they watch
little
all
cars.
that. You know,
They didn't know you knew. I mean,
had me so paranoid. We was in New York and got off on the wrong trip. Got off on the wrong street, and when we got off on the wrong street, what happened was that we were sitting in heavy traffic, guys, the boombox and the whole 9 yards. So I flashed back to that incident, and I was thinking, here I am sitting in this town car rented from North Carolina in the middle of nowhere. We don't know where we was, down in Harlem. This necklace came to my mind. Ring sitting there, and people standing there looking down in the car. So I immediately did what? Take off my stuff, because I was thinking, I'm gonna sit it and show the 60 Minutes on it, and this lady showed exactly how they did it.
they can
They can have the
they
car,
can show you
everything, come out of
everything.
there.
I mean, they show you how to make cocaine and stuff.
Yeah.
They just showed us that in school.
Right.
I mean, but if you think about it, show what's all put in it, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, like when a guy shot out everybody in the New York subway. He told us a gun, what kind of bullets he used. So it's like a postman or something that just got fired. He knows what kind of gun he used, what size magazine.
And they know
size
just
bullets.
where to hit. When you hit them right there, they're gonna
I know
die.
they're gonna die. Just keep
Rescue
walking.
911, they tell you what the bullet actually does.
Yeah.
What's open, to
That
raise
ain't
blood.
something you want to tell everybody.
Yeah,
I'm gonna shoot you right here.
Yeah.
This gonna split your inside.
Right.
That's nothing to
Right
tell
on the
nobody.
edge, right on the edge, right on the edge.
That's nothing to
Well, this
tell
has been
everybody.
very informative, and I appreciate all of the input. And next Saturday, we at the mall, handing
What
out
time we want to
flyers.
meet here?
Y'all wanna go with us to hand out flyers? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll
I
be
got
here at
foot long.
On that form that y'all filled out, the registration, did y'all
been out here. I can tell. Just like you do. That's a traveling folk. So you try to say you don't look like your mother? Yeah, I think so.
By the time you get in to get some of this abuse.
Yeah, I've enjoyed y'all. This has been a pleasure. Thank you, Ted.
So we're gonna do the mall thing.
Yeah, we're gonna do the mall thing. We'll meet here at 1 o'clock next Saturday, and we'll be ready to go. They wanna do the mall thing.
What about the community?
Yeah, we'll call them. We'll call and tell them. Those who come. If they ain't here, we're gonna do the mall thing.
Okay, are we gonna split up? Some go to Greensboro, some go to Haynes?
Yeah, it could be possible.
But that's case we need to be here at 12 then.
Since these children are already in Greensboro. Yeah, because I live in Greensboro.
Okay, then why don't we get the stuff to you by Friday, and then y'all can go to the Greensboro Mall, and then we'll work Haynes Mall.
One of
Okay.
us need to be in Greensboro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody needs to go out to
Greensboro and then one. Okay. We'll work on that.
And since I got everybody's number, I'll give you guys a call and